This is my match footage for the West End Gun Club LESA multi-gun match that was held April 16th, 2022. Sadly, the footage for Stage 1 was corrupted and unusable. I placed 6th out of 34 shooters with 87.69% of the winner's score. Stage 2 is a fairly simple stage. The rear paper targets are engaged with rifle, followed by the steel knockdown targets that must be engaged with pistol. As this was the first stage of the day, my pistol shooting left quite a bit to be desired. My numerous misses cost me quite a bit of time on this stage. I conduct a reload here as I don't believe I'll have enough ammunition to engage the rest of the targets. Overall, my performance netted me 8th out of 34 shooters with 70.16% of the winner's score. Stage 3, conversely, was fairly complicated. A total of 5 targets lined the berm. The 2 paper targets could only be engaged with 1 shot each. Any shot outside of the A box was counted as a failure to neutralize. Any additional shots on the targets were counted as a penalty. The steel simply needed 1 hit each. I tried to take some time to line up my shots on the paper targets. I had some success on the left target, as I had no misses there. On the right target, I had 2 or 3 shots land outside of the A box. Once the rifle portion was done, all that was left was to clean up the much simpler paper engagements.
Oh yeah, if you're done, drop the mag.
My performance netted me 6th out of 34 shooters, with 83.85% of the winner's score. A total of 15 seconds of penalties were added on due to the failures to neutralize. As opposed to Stage 3, Stage 4 starts with a much simpler rifle engagement. 3 targets line the back of the berm and require 3 hits each. Once the steel is engaged, the shooter moves to their next shooting position and engages the rifle steel once again, before moving on to the 2 rows of pistols steeled. The rear row must be engaged prior to engaging the front row. If the shooter hits any of the steel in the front row, that is a 5-second penalty. I make it through the stage with just barely enough ammo in my gun.
37-3-2.
My performance netted me 2nd out of 34 shooters, with 95.50% of the winner's score. This was my best stage so far at any of these matches. While Stage 4 was my best stage, Stage 5 was my worst. There are a total of 6 steel targets, 2 at 50 yards, 1 at 80 yards, 1 at 100 yards, 1 at 160 yards, and 1 at 210 yards. The shooter must engage the 2 50-yard targets before engaging the 100-yard target. They must then re-engage the 50-yard targets before proceeding to the 80-yard targets, and so on and so forth, until all the steel is engaged, at which point the shooter must move to a secondary position and repeat the same engagement. I conduct a reload as I move from one shooting position to the next, as I was having quite a bit of trouble engaging all of my targets and didn't believe I had enough ammunition in my magazine. Overall, my major issue on this stage was overcorrecting as I was transitioning between targets. This is a skill I should focus on improving in the future. My performance on the stage netted me 18th out of 34 shooters, with 69.42% of the winner's score. Overall, I placed 6th out of 34 shooters, with 87.60% of the winner's score, and 2nd place in Open Division.